You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
There was an idea. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
This is the Marvel Tribe, brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.
Avengers! Assemble.
Yeah. Welcome back. Merry Christmas to all our Marvel Tribe fans. I don't ever know why I just jump in and start talking. Any Lou or Sam can do this. But we are joined by our amazing co-hosts. We got the podcast princess, Sam, Sammy, Mrs. Kindergarten teacher, whatever. I mean, she goes by so many different names and stuff. How are you doing today?
I am good. I'm having a relaxing morning and I am ready to talk with y'all.
Did you get a lump of coal or did you get some presents?
I got presents. I am not on the naughty list. Let's behave here. Just kidding.
I lost that bet. All right.
Oh.
Then next up we got Lou Knight, the Mr. Skip to my Lou, Lou Gehrig. We got every kind of Lou you can think of, including Luniversal fanboy. Lou, how's your Christmas?
I mean, it's pretty good. I can't complain. I mean, I've been at it since almost 4 a.m. The kids came up. I don't know what they were on, but they're like, Santa come flying in my room around probably 3:45. So my day is halfway over, even though we are just getting started. We have a very busy day ahead of us and a long night ahead of us. So, but overall, I'm excited. My fingers are tired from Mario Karting for the last 4.5 hours. I'm glad to be here with you guys.
That's a great lead into this episode.
It is.
So you were playing Mario Kart. Did you watch the episode before you played Mario Kart or after?
During. So I won, and my kids were starting to be discouraged because I was not letting them win. So I let my two boys play. I let two boys play while I come and park into the room and watch this episode. And man, I walked out ready to play again and not let up on the first place.
You can't coddle your kids. I tell you, if you want kids to be, strong character in this world, fuck them kids and just. Oh, can I? You
got to shoot a 12-year-old sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, you can't. No, if they go up for a layup, smack the ball away. If they play you in a game, beat them. Like teach them competition.
No, I agree with you, David. But Lewis just took it a little too far there yet again.
Well, I missed what did you say?
He took it back to the
episode 2.
Episode 2, and he said sometimes you have to shoot a 12-year-old.
Oh my
He's talking about Star-Lord. He is talking about a celestial being, not an actual child.
Not an actual. No, not an
We
actual.
do not need to send the feds to his house.
Nope. But in case you want to write a nasty email, Lou, give them your email address.
Yep, absolutely. Walt's Apartment Podcast at yahoo.com.
I thought it was Universal Fanboy at Yahoo, but all right. So let's get into this episode.
This episode was called "What If Tony Stark Met the Grandmaster?"
Yes. Oh my God. I'm such a Jeff Goldblum fanboy. So this is a nice little Christmas present and stuff that we got. But yeah, basically the premise of this What If, the thing that changed a little bit slightly from our typical story is during the Battle of New York when Tony, he decided to sacrifice himself, and take the nuke to the aliens through the portal. And, he ended up falling back into space. In the MCU, he actually made it just in time through the rift before it closed. But in this, What If, he did not make it in time? The rift closed, send him through the portal, which dumped him where most of the portals, including the Bifrost and everything else, goes. onto the garbage planet known as oh my god, why am I blanking? Sakaar.
I didn't realize I was muted. Yeah. Yes, Sakaar.
So, and we all know Sakaar is ran by the famous gangster in the galaxy, the one, the only, the Grandmaster, who is voiced by the legendary Jeff Goldblum, who I love. I mean, the Grandmaster's character is awesome in itself, but the fact that, I mean, they got Jeff to play that character, it just warms my cockles. So he ends up landing on Sakaar. God, it's been I literally watched this at midnight, and I barely remember the timeline of events. So anyone else want to kind of start? Okay.
Yeah, so we like David said, we saw Tony Stark falling through space. He lands on Sakaar, and when he gets there, he's basically like, they're like, we know who you are, like what Metal Mojo, that's what they keep calling him. Metal Mojo man. And they've heard about Tony Stark and his suit, and the Grandmaster is all about using people for his entertainment.
Oh yeah.
So he's showing them basically these races that are going on, and Tony Stark's just trying to get one damn good drink, and he cannot. Everything tastes like poison to him because, well, on Sakaar they don't really have the best of things. They're all starving. They're all experiencing like these horrible things in their lives because the Grandmaster's POS and doesn't actually care about people. He just uses and manipulates people. And that's what he's trying to do with Tony Stark. He wants to put Tony Stark basically in a slaughterhouse type arena and watch him fight. So that we're seeing the race. That's why we were making that connection to Lou playing Mario Kart this morning, because it's basically monster truck style races where they're all trying to kill each other and be the winner, be the victor before the big thing comes out and tries to kill everyone.
Yeah. So we all have a little bit slightly, like we all agree Mario Kart is definitely in this, but I am, as one of the older generations on this podcast here, remember Twisted Metal, and it definitely gave Twisted Metal vibes. It gave Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome vibes as well too, and always the granddaddy of them all for me is the Mario Kart, which we all kind of agree on. So.
Yeah, I saw the Mario Kart vibes, but for me, my initial thing was, oh, it's just like Vanellope and Wreck-It Ralph when she's doing the slaughter races. She sings a whole song about the slaughter races, and
you need to watch Wreck-It Ralph.
Well, it was I think that one's Wreck-It Ralph too.
Okay.
If I'm if I'm correct.
Ralph breaks the internet.
Yeah, Ralph breaks the internet. So check it out because she sings a whole song about the slaughter races.
What
did you think? Sorry, David.
No worries.
I instantly got Death Race vibes and pod racing from Star Wars.
I did. Yeah, I did get pod racing vibes too. So we didn't give our overall ratings yet. We usually start that way.
I'll tell you now. I'm biased. This is only simply because I got the one person that I really truly enjoy as a character in this. Well, Hulk is my ultimate, but Jeff Goldblum is close second. So I give this a 10, and that's completely a biased rating and stuff. Anything Jeff Goldblum touches is gold to me. So,
did you say a 10? It's a 10.
That's a 10.
It's a 10. Lou Knight, what was your ranking for this episode or rating?
It's a 6 for me. So with the what if, I always ask myself, like, is this a what if question I would ask myself? And they tried to piggyback off the Gamora being Thanos, and they pitched it in the beginning, and then they just kind of left it. Not only that, one thing that what if has always been something that caught my attention is the voice actors. And this one had a lot of not the actors voicing them, and that threw me off. Gamora didn't sound anything like Gamora. It was disgusting how it sounded. The actor playing Tony Stark, pretty solid. But this is not a what if question that I would have asked myself. Like, it's like, what if Iron Man met Jeff Goldblum? Like, Like, what if Rocket Raccoon met Peggy Carter? I mean, does it really matter? Probably not. Like, for me, this was a 6, and it probably would have been a little higher if it came out yesterday and the Christmas one came out today. Those would probably both be bumped up by a point or two for me. But I just feel like it was a complete miss. And unfortunately, their season 2 following Marvel's report card starts off real good. Middle of the season lacks. Maybe we'll get some solid episodes at the end. But I'm starting to get a little worried for this What If season 2 now.
That's the great thing about this tribe is we got dueling opinions. Because, go ahead, Sam.
For me, the episode started as a 4. Because it was the same thing. I was like, I don't really need this. But then we got to see Tony Stark being the hero. We got to see Tony Stark rising above the temptation to just destroy people who were trying to destroy him and trying to destroy a planet. We got to see his speech to Gamora.
He never met.
He never met Gamora. And getting to see his reaction to her, like, telling him that the Centauri was, like, what happened in New York was Thanos' fault, and the way that he tried to get her to empathize with him and understand, like, I lost people. How can you not realize that this was an evil thing? This was a bad thing. How can you support that? So for me, Tony Stark's internal character bumped this episode up to a 7. From a 4.
I have 2 questions. Well, I actually have a question, and I have a very Lou moment. So, for me, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, the What If shows that surround around characters that we've already lost in the MCU, I pull myself out more immediately. It's like, it doesn't matter. They're gone. Like, I feel like for characters that are still alive, so to say, in the MCU, I buy those What If stories more in depth because it's like, it could still happen. But when you got like Tony Stark who's dead, Thanos is dead. I mean, for the most part, and I doubt we'll ever go back to Sakaar again. Like, so Jeff Goldblum's character, unfortunately, is probably dead in the Marvel universe. Like, I'm like, for me, it's like we're playing with a bunch of dead people. Like, can we get something that's relevant? But then again,
but it doesn't have to be relevant because they're not What If.
And this is also the multiverse. They're not dead. They're dead in certain timelines.
But see, then that kind of retroacts what we were saying in the last few episodes, because we keep trying to find out in the plot where this takes place. And if we're doing that, then we're putting this in the MCU.
Well, that's the thing, is it doesn't take place. It doesn't take place. It's just, there is no set timeline. Yeah. Sorry, I would say there's no set timeline. There's no set, like Earth 626 doesn't have to be where we are. They are jumping around different places because these things did happen in different parts of in the comics. Mm-hmm. They just don't happen in the same place. So episode 2 does not have to happen in the same timeline as episode 3.
I got you. But the last few episodes, we've kind of interjected where we think this takes place. And if we're doing that, then it's no longer kind of what if, it's more of what has happened.
Here's why. And they did this. I'll give Marvel flack for this because they did a piss poor job of explaining. These are Nexus events that happen, right? So no matter what timeline you are, there's certain sets of events that happen. How the outcomes and how things interplay, who dies, who live, if they win or lose, that's what separates timelines and stuff. But the events themselves, those happen throughout the time. Those are destined events. There's not a timeline where that battle in New York never happened and stuff.
Yeah, Nexus events happen on every single timeline because those are the moments in the timeline that hold the entire timeline together. The timeline would absolutely fall apart and it would not exist. It would float off into space if that Nexus event did not happen. So, like, the Battle of New York has to happen in every single timeline.
Like when, so remember in Avengers when Doctor Strange was doing his meditation thing and looking through all of the different events and how the outcomes are. All that event was happening, but out of the 8 million times, there's one where they actually they win and stuff. So those events happen infinitely throughout the different multiverse timelines and stuff. It just, there's different outcomes. And so What If kind of plays around with picking stories from certain events next to the events and then seeing what happens when this doesn't go right? They don't win, or Tony doesn't make it back to New York. He's trapped in space. So there's another event like this, actually similar, where Tony becomes a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He actually, there's different events and timelines where different outcomes trigger different moments and stuff. So,
no, I hear what you guys are saying, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, if you're going to ask yourself, like the intro says, what if? I mean, give us some what if situations. And I think this is the what if situation that's like, and what if we didn't see this? We almost had to ask ourselves. I felt like this episode was lacking that. There was the first episode, I gave it, I think, again, an 8, and I wasn't too excited for it, but I enjoyed it. The second episode, home run. The holiday one, I think, was a day early. This one, I think, was a day late. But ultimately, I feel like this isn't a question that anybody was asking themselves, what if? Maybe there's some. I could be biased. But I don't think anybody is asking, like, what if Iron Man met Jeff Goldblum? Like, that one for me was a weak storyline. I mean, it started off good. I was excited to see, this is a continuation episode from season 1. Okay. No, it wasn't. You just showed Gamora, and then she the journey Gamora was on in that first episode is not the journey she's on now. Like, how did she get to Sakaar? Give me that what if question. What if Gamora ended up on Sakaar? That would have been the perfect tagline, not Iron Man. But I mean, overall, now granted, I was also sharing too, there was a Lou moment. If that purple creature would have crushed Tony Stark, it would have went up in my score. I saw that. I was like, this is one of those moments. They are playing with me right now. They're like, dude, do we kill him? Do we kill him? No, he lives. So I was like, damn, dude. I would have died if he's like, I'm right here. Be the better person. And then it's just crushed. Like, damn, she's not the better person. That would have just, again, would have threw a curveball out there. But they're not. I mean, halfway through each one of these episodes, you're starting to be like, never mind. The heroes always win. Like, give me a what if episode where the hero doesn't win.
We don't know the hero won. We didn't see Thanos die, and literally the Grandmaster is just a puddle. He didn't actually melt away.
Didn't we see Thanos get like hit with a melt stick?
And he looked up at his daughter like, "What the hell are you doing?"
I mean,
as far as being a puddle.
Okay, let's talk about that real quick. So she did what Thor did to Thanos. He should have went for the head. He hit him with Stormbreaker in the chest, just like she did with the melt stick on his chest. And he just looked up at her. I was actually waiting for him to actually say the famous line, "You should have went for the head," to his daughter. But he just looked up at her disappointed. We didn't see him get taken out.
Speaking of the puddle, the end at the end when he was like, "I need a bucket and a mop," I was like, it's a WAP. Like that
100% a ode to Nicki Minaj and WAP and stuff.
No, that was an ode to Walt's Apartment Podcast.
The bucket and the mop, and I'll need a WAP. Yeah. Yes. Oh man.
Okay, so back into the storyline. We basically see Gamora is trying to take out Tony, and who was with Tony? I don't remember.
It was Korg and
Korg. It was Korg. Yeah, it was Korg. So we got more Guardians. We got more Guardians back in this episode.
I have no issue with getting Guardians.
I don't either. It's just funny that like it's been a consistent theme through this season.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically get put into a chamber, a cell together, and Tony and Korg decide they're going to break out after Gamora tells them why she's there, refuses to tell them her name. She's just Thanos' daughter, at which Tony Stark says, well, Thanos was really creative with the way he named his children Thanos' daughter. That part made me giggle. But so they're going to leave her in the cell. Korg's excited that he gets to be on a team with Metal Mojo.
Metal Mojo.
And they're breaking out, and Gamora also breaks out, and pretty much we get a lot of back and forth between them. We see that Tony and Korg go to the racer girl. I don't remember her name.
It's what's her face?
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
That's right. It is. It's Val. So we see Val. We see Val in a bar, and she's drinking, and they're like, "We need you to help us. We're going to stop the Grandmaster." And you see the Grandmaster, who's like, "I know we don't have food, and you don't have food, and your immediate needs aren't being met. But if you see Metal Mojo, he's wanted." So he's basically like telling his people, like, "I know that I'm not taking care of you as your leader, but do this for me."
Yeah,
which just. So Tony's hearing that, and he tells Korg, like, "Is Grandmaster as bad as I think he is?" And that's when they decide, he's going to try and save these people on this planet from the Grandmaster. Yep. And probably my favorite moment of the entire episode is when Korg goes, "One time he made me sit on paper as a paperweight, and paper's like my arch nemesis." And I was like, back to rock, paper, and scissors.
Yeah, that was actually funny.
Korg and Taika Waititi in this whole show, in this whole season, have been a home run. Like Jeff Goldblum in this episode is probably the equivalent to come up next to Korg. But man, Korg had a few moments this episode. The whole, "Oh, hell no." That part had me dying. Like I rewound that to watch it again because that had me laughing.
Well, the fact that he named the champion that looks like a mutant elephant, Snuffy, when he saw him and stuff, like, so Snuffy Snuffle up, I guess. I was like, oh, okay, Korg, yeah, another quick with the wit and stuff. So
yeah, Korg, he definitely has been making this season.
So we get the Iron Man montage of him building a suit, kind of like him building it in the cave. This time he's building a Sakaar Buster suit. Yeah, which I think was badass.
And then Gamora ends up with the Grandmaster, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a big fan of your dad's, and I need you to take out Tony Stark. I need you to take out Metal Mojo." And then they have, their battle scene, and he's talking to Gamora, and while they're battling, and Gamora still hasn't told him her name. And so he gets her name, he gets Gamora. He ends up being able to convince Gamora that she was doing the wrong thing there in Sakaar. And she ended up helping them, Grandmaster. So, and Grandmaster was like, "Well, I actually get to name the winner regardless of who won." And everybody's like, "No, you're going to die right now. Like, we're done with you." Well, he didn't die. He was puddleized.
Melted. Yeah.
He was puddleized. Yeah. And then
I just want to say Grandmaster is representative of every crooked politician, dictator ever conjure up on Earth and stuff. Like literally, like he runs the world like the Roman Empire did. Like when they were dealing with famine and disease and everything else, the emperor's like, "Hey, let's create gladiator games and stuff, and appease the people that way. Take away from the fact that I'm a horrible emperor." So he did that, and this was all before the actual fighting games. When you had they did the racing and stuff like that, and before Hulk and all the other champions and stuff. But yeah, it's just harkened to a horrible, horrible politician that nobody really wants, that doesn't take care of his people and stuff. But yet he has them under his thumb. And he knows it. He doesn't even care. Like he's never, like when we watched Thor and he was surrounded at the end by all of the people, he didn't care. He's like, "Oh, hey, let's kind of talk about this. Like, hey, I'm busted. Like I'm still like your leader and stuff." Like, so, and he's right. He's been around for millions of years. So he has this kind of, just, I don't even know what to say, like non-humanistic empathy for people. Like he really just doesn't care. You can hate him, love him. He's going to do his thing. It's going to be all about him. Just like with the birthday ships and the confetti and the party stuff and everything. Yeah, he's all about ego. He's his own biggest fan. So I love the fact that, he cheated when he jumped into the race and was, killing people left and right and all that fun stuff. And even when Tony ended up beating him in the last very second, Still walked up and like, hey, great thing about my position of power, I get to name who win. So it was, I don't know, it was really good. I liked it.
And it was in that moment that pretty much his civilians were like, no, we're done. We're done. So
his number one, so Valkyrie took out his number one. I can't remember her name, but she was always by his side, and then the melt stick kind of rolled and tapped him on the foot.
I hated that scene.
It was about as bad as the accidental injection last episode.
Yeah, I was waiting for the
you know, like the Wicked Witch of the West melt scene, like I'm melting, but sarcastically.
I mean, I think they could have melted him somewhere else, but it would have been funny, like, if Jeff Goldblum would, like, lift his foot up, like, oh, that was a close one. Like,
why would he, though? He wanted to see how it
was
felt.
Slowly rolling. Like,
he wanted to see how it felt. Like, he didn't care. That's the thing. I think Stone could have threw an axe at him in slow motion, and he would have, in his head, thought, I wonder what that feels like to split my head. I'm just going to stand here. And then
here we go. What if season 3, the mind of Jeff Goldblum?
We call those masochists, like those people who like pain and just like he wants to experience everything. Yeah. So I thought it was very befitting of his personality to not move his foot when that thing was slowly moved. He knows what it does. He's used it.
He's also a narcissist, so there's that.
Yeah.
That he thinks he's unbeatable. So then Val ends up being crowned king.
Yes.
And that was great to see. So
she always ends up king. King of Asgard in the regular MCU timeline, now King of Sakaar.
Yep. So she's named king, and she's going to turn things around for the better on Sakaar. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else I'm missing that happened after that?
Yeah.
Other than
because Gamora helped Tony decided to help Gamora, and with this little ploy twist to be her prisoner as she brings Iron Man to Thanos and stuff. So kind of we knew that wasn't even a surprise. We knew even as he was walking with his hands behind his back that this was definitely a ruse, and that's going to be put on Thanos. And so brought him. He was holding the melt stick behind his back, and then as he said something slick to Tony, like I've heard of you or something like that.
So something that definitely set with me was, again, that speech, that first speech he gives to Gamora when he finds out about the Centauri. And he's like, do you realize that your father destroyed an entire planet? Gamora knows who her dad is. Like Gamora, that he did that to Gamora.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that like Gamora, she's going to be down for a ruse because she knows what she's working with. But overall, pretty decent episode.
Yep.
Lou disagrees. Lou didn't want it.
Lou hated it. That's fine. I loved it. I thought
Lou
it
hates everything.
The best. It's my number one.
I don't hate it. Flip flop them. Give us the Happy Hogan one today. Give us this one yesterday. They probably would have been both bumped up by a point. And let somebody, hero, not hero, let somebody give us that Marvel's Endgame and Infinity War. Like when we lost Black Widow, give us that in What If. Like, no, what? Like, these are Mickey Mouse Clubhouse happy endings. Can we get something that's like, no, they didn't do that? What?
Papa 12-year-old.
That's how What If comics were, though. They weren't trying to kill off.
They were happy endings.
They're telling different stories of change of events and stuff. Mm-hmm. What if Scarlet Witch never said no more mutants and stuff? And those are the what ifs and stuff that
Then we would have no Namor.
Blade never, it couldn't be a Daywalker. Like how would that have changed how he would have been?
For instance, I go back to my favorite one, the T'Challa and Guardians. That one left me like, dude, what if? Like, imagine that. Like, none of these episodes have been like, dude, what if that was the way it played out? Like, all of these were like, oh, if that would have happened, it would have done.
So basically, Lou Lou is coming up with his own what if questions during these what if episodes. He's like, well, I want to see this instead. What if this would have happened?
Those may come, Lou. I mean, here's the thing. The thing with the cartoon series and stuff that I like is that there's an infinite amount of material. There is. They can make what ifs for the next 10 years.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Eventually, your key, that diamond one that you're looking for, is going to hit.
But you're telling me like these are the top picks of the stories they've came up with?
I don't think they rank them that way. I don't think they rank them as like the topic. They probably have a bunch of stories, and I think they try to stay somewhat congruent with what's going on in the MCU. They don't want to go too far. Like I predict in like season 5 of What If, we'll get X-Men What If, we'll get a Deadpool What If and stuff like that. But they want to try to be as close, not that far away from what had happened. That's still in the recesses of our minds and stuff.
So,
but as far as the
honest,
top,
you said
I don't
something
think
that
they
I want.
rank them. They just throw up stories and stuff and organize a series.
But that's what I'm saying is like right now, I mean, I get there's comics out there of What If, but like right now, this is like putting Kevin Feige and his entire creative team in a play box saying, hey, there is no rules. Anybody can die, anybody can live, anybody can have these powers. Really stretch the imagination with this show.
And Lou wants to see some good guys die.
Not necessarily good guys, but give us a curveball. Let us. These are not the what if questions. These are like if we were to put a poll out, even us three here, if we were to write down our own what if questions, I would. I'm throwing it out there. I could be wrong. None of these 4 episodes are on the pegboard.
Not true for me, and yeah. Definitely, this one I don't really care. If I would have, I don't care too much about. Other than I like Jeff Goldblum and stuff.
Agree. I'll agree with you.
But episode 2, I would have actually done that one and stuff in my what if mind. For me, like the only pushback I have, I agree with you. They have full carte blanche, with the exception of this. This is the part that I disagree. And it's nothing against you. It's just there is rules, and let me explain. Like with with Black Panther joining the Guardians because he got picked up the wrong group of people picked up the wrong special child and stuff. That couldn't have happened in any other character and stuff. I mean, you can't like Hawkeye could never be in a situation in the what if where he becomes the Incredible Hulk. There's no scenario where that plays. Like there is some rules that you have to kind of follow. You can juke them and offset them a little bit, but there is still some rules and a little bit of continuity. You do have to kind of play within the bounds.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. And I'm not saying that they can go completely off the grid, but I mean, yesterday's Christmas episode, there could have been a handful of other characters that could have been in Happy Hogan's shoes. Yes, he brought the comedic element, but Happy Hogan is carrying Gamma. Like, come on. There would have been so many other characters that would have been very interesting to see in What If rolling around with Gamma in their veins. Like, so I agree. You can't just be like, Hawkeye is in this because of that. You can't do that. But you could season those potatoes a little bit better than just salt and pepper and expecting us to like them. That's what I'm saying. Happy Hogan was not the person for that. Tony Stark going to Sakaar, you could have did why have we not seen the what if episode we're asking for? What if Hulk was Planet Hulk? Where's that episode? This is the perfect timeline to do that because they can use him in that scenario. They can't use him in a solo film, or actually they can now, but
we can.
Why haven't we got that stuff? The what if questions that we've been asking ourselves this entire time. The stuff that you already know is foolproof. Why are they not touching that? Maybe because movies, okay. But I mean, they've already introduced What If into the MCU with a Dreamwalker, Doctor Strange, and we've already seen Captain Carter. Yes, it was kind of fan service, but we've seen it. I just feel like they're not putting all their cards out there, which I'm okay with, but I'm not playing goldfish with 2s and 3s. Let me get a couple face cards in there as well once in a while. To give me a bite.
So
I like the way you said that, though, Lou.
I don't disagree, but so like the Planet Hulk, there's no scenario where if we went left versus right, that would have given us Planet Hulk, because that hasn't happened yet. We just got introduced to his son, and that was the whole premise for Planet Hulk, because his family dies and get murdered and slaughtered on Sakaar, and he blames the event. Like, we haven't seen that in any of the timelines that we like a different route, like his family got saved, or what if they didn't and Hulk went mad. So I get what you're saying. There's still rules and pieces that we have to see. I want to see World War Hulk on the big screen. I will be extremely disappointed if they decide to just let's what if and do a future cast of a scenario that we haven't really. I would be pissed. I would say that would be
I know that was just an example. Like, there's other things on the table.
No, 100%. Kim, we mind if we talk about that, the Happy Hogan thing? Because I actually agree with you. Someone else besides Happy Hogan could have did the Hulk out thing. And I'm curious about you guys. What character, if you had to rewrite that show, the show still had to follow that premise, the Tony Stark Christmas party and everything else. But what character, maybe they were there helping set up and stuff, and then they were the ones who
Darcy.
Really? Darcy?
Give it to Darcy.
Darcy would have been fun because it would have carried that comedic. I don't disagree with Darcy for that comedic relief, having instead of you have genius Hulk, but then you got now you got comedy Darcy as Hulk. I think that would have been fun. If I'm being honest, I mean, off the top of my head, I wouldn't mind throwing the name Hawkeye out there. Imagine Hawkeye, his arrow gets clipped with some gamma, and then he gets hit with it. I will not ever, if I'm in that shoes, I'm not bringing back, the gravity-fed syringe. You have gamma in there and gravity just pushed in there. Stop it. Get rid of that. That doesn't exist. You're not creative enough. But I think if, Hawkeye would have, got hit with one of his own arrows that clipped gamma, or it went through a cylinder that had it. But I think Hawkeye would have been interesting, especially what if we saw not the traditional bodybuilder Hulk, but how we saw with She-Hulk. Imagine a more lean but buff Hawkeye, but a little bit more yokey than we saw traditional Hulk. Imagine him, Hulk with Hawkeye vision. That would have been clean. Or you spice it up a little bit and Captain America got a double dose of gamma, and now the dude's just a wrecking ball. That's not cool. Cap's supposed to be the good guy, and now he's trying to fight it. That would have been interesting. Or you give the fans some real fan love, and you let Mr. Nick Fury and you bring Samuel L. Jackson to voice it, and you give Samuel L. Jackson the gamma. Imagine Nick Fury getting clipped with that. Or Agent Coulson. We haven't seen him since Avengers, and he's we don't talk about Coulson. I mean, that would have been cool. Coulson comes in for the Christmas party. We haven't seen him. Where have you been? Oh, just here on a little trip, just coming to say hi, and then boom, hit with gamma. Dude, I was only here for the one day, and this is what happens, and he yokes out. The list can go on before Happy Hogan shows up.
Okay. I that's fair. Hawkeye would have been probably good. Coulson, I think, was dead at this point in time, but I would have picked. I think I would think Black Widow. I think Black Widow not only would have been, I hate to say it, a better She-Hulk, but better than the Hulk himself, because she is a tactician fighter. Given the Hulk serum, she would be completely, you couldn't tell her shit. Hulk couldn't stop her. She would have been the best. She would have been, I would have made a campaign to say she's a new She-Hulk. Period. Black Widow is the new She-Hulk. I want this Black Widow from this universe to go into the big screen universe and replace the current She-Hulk. Because
that would have been my second option if I have not gone with Darcy, but I'm a Darcy stan, so I want to see her do all the things. But
you could have had
I would have loved to see a woman. I would have loved to see another woman.
Yep.
Yeah. That would have been a cool parody too. If she's hulking out, her phone rings and just you don't need to answer it. And I'm blanking She-Hulk's name right now, but you just have She-Hulk's attorney name, and it says attorney, and she just answers it. She's not now, and it crushes it. That would be the greatest parody Easter egg. She just crushed the phone to her lawyer which is the original She-Hulk. Like that would have been so. Look at us three guys.
No. It would have been even funnier if She-Hulk was calling her to tell her she was suing her for stealing her public appearance.
Yeah.
Her public appearance.
See, I mean, all you gotta do is pay us a little bit more, and I mean, Feige, you can have all three of us.
You're infringing on my intellectual property.
She gets surged with the lawsuit at the end, like
and
at
the thing is, party. So the way that She-Hulk broke down the fourth wall, that would have been a perfect way to do it in a What If episode. And Louis, I know you were not a fan about that, but like to get that call and be like, "Yo, girl, this isn't it," that would have been hysterical as a fourth wall breakdown to tie in the shows. Look, we could do this. All right, you guys ready to write our own shows?
I'm down. I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know because of Lou would add the darkness to it. I think we would get slapped with the rated R for our What If series. Okay with that. But I'm down to write our own What If. So.
Our What If comics would be like the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. It'd be such a melting pot of culture and opinions that like you couldn't do anything else to it because it's almost damn near perfect.
I have an idea. I'm going to run past you. I have an idea. I'm going to run past you guys when we're off air. But my brain is spinning. But I think that's all we have for today. We're going to get back to our Christmases with our family. Another episode being released at midnight Pacific time tonight. We will be back tomorrow to cover it. And we'll keep following through till the new year, this advent calendar, so to speak, of What If. We thank you for joining joining the tribe today. Feel the pulse in your chest so you know you're alive. One team, one love.
It's the Marvel Tribe.
Merry Christmas.